Right, hello everyone. So I'm Dr. Tom Kelly. Some of you know me, some of you don't. I'm Lab and Field Technical Officer at Queen Mary University of London in the Geography Department. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my involvement has been in all of this. So tell you a little bit about myself, how we've kind of brought things that we've done here into our curriculum at QM, and then talk about some of the recent student projects and some kind of upcoming project work as well. So I had to try and rack my brains as to when I'd actually started working on all of this stuff. So back in February 2021, Kate brought me into all of this. We started doing the kind of monitoring and maintenance of sondes and equipment. So throughout that, there's kind of been collaboration with the Chilterns Conservation Board. And as Kate has kind of changed roles, I've picked up working with Hannah. So we kind of go out every month for a couple of days and we maintain and look after all of that equipment. So mainly it's the kind of technical end of things, the calibration of the sondes to make sure that they're providing us with accurate water quality data, doing some of the flow monitoring, which has actually now increasingly been taken over by volunteers, and also collecting some water samples for our long-term data set. Oh, thank you. So back in the lab, I don't actually have very many pictures of me doing lab work because I'm always got something on or my hands are wet or something, but we built these samplers as well, so the kind of long tubes there for collecting suspended sediment. Initially I was kind of helping quite a bit with data handling, and I think I might be doing some of that again soon. Making sure we kind of got stuff that we need, you know, consumables, chemicals, doing calibrations with, and then doing water analysis basically. So either because it's needed by the project or to support students doing their research. So it's been fantastic, this collaboration. I can't emphasize how wonderful it's been. We've brought so much of this work into what we're teaching people. So, for example, as part of the Water and Environmental Management, MSc, we actually use Latimer as one of our field sites. So we take students there and they do a practical exercise, which they then write up for assessment. We do kind of, you know, work looking at the chalk stream environments here and talk a lot about that. And in the process of that, I usually show them the monitoring points as well and talk a little bit about this work. We also involve students in activities that are going on when we can. So this year, for example, Steve Brooks ran the training course on Macroinva ID. I mean, he's one of the experts in the country, so it was amazing that we could bring students to learn from him and to gain that training and experience. It's something which, even when you're working in a university, you have to wear a lot of hats. Having somebody like Steve who's specialized in that for his entire career is just, is a wonderful opportunity. So the other thing that we do, which I'll talk about a little bit more, is we try to get students to, do dissertations if that's something that they're interested in. And obviously having that collaborative link is so valuable. It gives us access to field sites. It gives us a long-term context to what they're doing. There's so many benefits to that. So some of the recent projects that have been done this year. So a project by Simone, who's somewhere around here. There she is at the back. We've got a poster up here, so you should definitely come and have a look at that in a minute. So Simone was looking at citizen science methods for monitoring phosphate and nitrate, and also looking at the kind of effect of wet and dry on phosphate and nitrate pollution in the rivers. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So basically we were looking at these three different ways of measuring phosphate and nitrate. So some of you might have used some of these at various points. On the left-hand side, we have these little kind of checkers, or we call them eggs because they look a little bit like an egg. And they're kind of relatively affordable way of checking phosphate and nitrate. So you add a reagent, you create a colorimetric reaction, and you put it in there, and it gives you a reading. They're less than £100, so they're not expensive. Then you've got your kind of more expensive, more advanced test kit in the middle, And I think this is the one that Hannah uses quite a lot for the noses work and other things. So those are considerably more expensive. So they're hundreds of pounds, and of course everything is going up all the time with inflation. So every time I check the price of these, it seems to have gone up again. And then on the right-hand side, we have our kind of laboratory equipment. So this is an ion chromatography system, which you don't have to understand what that is, but these are kinds of things, they cost tens of thousands of pounds. And actually, realistically, because you need an entire laboratory of other stuff to support their use, it's highly impractical for kind of citizen scientists to use this stuff, unless you're then paying somebody to analyze it as part of consultancy, which then has an ongoing cost. And I would also argue as well, it means you have to wait for the result, and there's a kind of a de-skilling of and a mystification of the process of how you get that data. Whereas with the other two, you can see that, you get the results back immediately. It's kind of a more practical and, I would argue, enjoyable process. So we were quite interested to compare, basically, do you get the same results using these different methods? The implications of that are obviously pretty obvious in that, you could probably buy 10 of the little ones for the price of the middle one, and of course you could buy dozens of them for the price of an ion chromatography system. So the interesting thing that Simone found was that actually the results are very, very comparable, particularly between those two field-based methods, which means that you could buy 10 of those small ones and your results would not particularly be affected in any meaningful way. However, we are going to expand that data set before we start thinking about writing it up. So have a look at Simone's poster, and also you can chat to her about what she's done. So as I say, we're going to continue that, and we're really lucky. We've got another student who wanted to pick up this work this year. So Millie came out with us recently. She did a field work with Hannah and I not that long ago. She's going to build that data set until we've got something really substantial to work with, and then myself and Hannah and others will start to dig down into that data. And I'm hoping that we can produce a publication which will then form a basis for other people to refer to in other parts of the country who might be interested in that work. So other recent student projects, so we've had Lucy, who's there. Let's not embarrass people. She's been looking at the accuracy and effectiveness of citizen science biomonitoring methods to determine phosphate pollution. And we've got a picture that she took there at the invert training course. So I'll go on a little bit to some of Lucy's findings. I'm not going to go into depth about this. You can talk to Lucy, and Lucy's got a poster at the back as well, which you should have a look at. So some of her key recommendations are things I think which would all kind of understand, making sure there's enough training, particularly for extended river fly, working in pairs and groups, so we kind of all learn from one another, and it reduces that variance in our identifications. It means that more experienced people can help those who are just starting out to perfect their taxonomic skill. Looking at multiple water quality samples, so understanding those long-term patterns and parameters, which is something we're really lucky on the chest. We have our SONs, we have lots of regular monitoring going on. It's really important. But also there are still some mysteries. So we get some low scores. We're not quite sure why. And it's important to remember that although you can convert these invertebrate abundances into a phosphate level, it might not be phosphate that's causing the problem. It might not be nitrate that's causing the problem. It could be something else. You have trace metals, you've got organic contaminants as well, which I think there's still a lot of work to be done on. So yeah, there's all those kinds of unknown things to think about as well. But yeah, take the opportunity to chat to Lucy and ask her a little bit about that. So in summary, thinking about kind of what we've done and some of the involvement that we've had, that kind of practical input seems to be a valuable thing. I kind of feel lucky to have been part of this over the last few years, going in and making sure that things are kind of working well. Obviously, we're kind of backup for the hundreds of people that are doing lots of legwork all around the River Chess catchment. But we can step in and give you a bit of help and support, or where you need extra facilities, we might be able to provide that. And I feel like that has hopefully made a valuable contribution to what you're all doing. But there's a huge mutual benefit for us as well. I mean, bringing in students, teaching them about what's going on, giving them opportunities to meet experienced people, learning about the UK's rivers. They then take that out and they use that in their career, in their jobs, in their life, and they take it beyond this kind of academic context. And giving those opportunities is really valuable. I can't emphasize how much, that added value that gives to somebody's education. And it's not something which is easy for us as, academics or technicians to provide for students, because we need site access and we need collaborators and we need places to go and do stuff and we need permission to do it. So the fact that it's there and we've had this ongoing relationship is it's gold, really. It's gold dust. And I guess the final thought is that this collaboration obviously came out of a kind of need for us to provide some practical help. And I mean, as all good collaborations do, it's evolved way beyond its original remit. And I think that's been a fantastic thing for us. So that's the note that I would like to finish on. So yeah, special thanks particularly to Hannah, to Kate, and also, she's not here, but my manager Jackie, who supported all of this time that I've ploughed into all of this work. And we did get shortlisted for an award at Queen Mary, although we didn't win it. That was their mistake, so they will have to let them off for that. But yeah, thank you everyone.